Good afternoon and welcome to TakeaSide. I'm your host, Jacob Polachek, and after an eventful week of sports, we'll be discussing some of the hottest topics. From Kansas's 62-58 victory over Kansas State, the Astros sign-stealing scandal, and the NFL's newly proposed playoff format. For those of you joining us for the first time, we are a debate show partnered with the website Sided.co. Every week, our players will debate topics from Sided, and you, the audience, will have the chance to vote for your winner. Last week's winners were Ryan Atchison, who argued that Tom Brady will stay with the Patriots in free agency, and Mitch Haverfield, who argued that the cornerback position is the biggest offseason need for the Kansas City Chiefs. For our first debate this week, we have our players debating their opinions on KU's most valuable player. At 26-3, the Kansas Jayhawks currently stand at number 1 in the AP poll and have been led primarily by the duo of Devon Dotson and Udoka Azubuike. Dotson, who was named as one of 5 finalists for the Bob Cousy Point Guard of the Year award on Monday, leads the Big 12 in scoring at 18.2 points per game. Dotson is also second in the Big 12 in steals at 2.1, third in field goal percentage, 6th in assists, and 7th in free throw percentage. But is he more valuable than Doak? This season, Azubuike is averaging 13.1 points and 10.3 rebounds per game. He leads the NCAA in field goal percentage at 74%. His biggest game of the year came on February 22nd against the then number 1 ranked Baylor, where he finished with 23 points and 19 rebounds en route to a 64-61 Jayhawks victory. Both players are tied with 50% of the vote apiece on Sided, so be sure to take a side and choose a winner. I'm here with Sided players Max McElroy and Marina Saver, here to debate their thoughts on KU's most valuable player. Max, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think, without a question, Devon Dotson is the most valuable player on the Kansas Jayhawks. The great Jayhawk teams of the past have always been defined by great guard play, and I think Devon Dotson is no exception. Not only is he one of the fastest point guards I've ever seen, but he averages the most minutes on the team at 34.7, so he is the backbone of the team in terms of consistency. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I think, like you said, with Dotson, obviously his speed is unparalleled on this team, but I do think that Azubuike is more valuable. And my biggest thing, and I know you're going to disagree with me, is that when it comes to comparing the two and if they need a breather and they need to leave the court, with Dotson, Garrett can run point just as well. He can run the offense. I think he's also really good at driving to the basket, and his defense is better than Dotson's. And as far as shooting, you can put in Brown or Moss, who are pretty equal to Dotson in that caliber. Whereas if Udoka needs to come out, needs a breather, you get David McCormick, who can't rebound like Doak, can't play defense like Doak, isn't a beast in the paint like Doak. Granted, he has better shooting, but Doak has a 74% field goal percentage, and that's the highest. Not only is it the highest standing, it's the highest that the NCAA has seen in years. So I think when it comes to replaceability, I think, yeah, obviously you have players that can go in for both of them, but I just think Doak's impact is unrivaled.
Well, I think that's interesting because if you're talking about irreplaceability, I would think just like you'd keep them on the court, and so Dot averages the most playing time.
Right.
And so if he's replaceable, I don't know why he would be averaging that much time. But he's not only is he just a great shooter, he averages the most points on the team with 18.2, but he also is such a great ball distributor. And that's kind of what KU guards normally do. They just distribute the ball to the people who can really shoot. And his three-point shooting has actually been up from last year.
Right.
And then, you also have playmakers like Isaiah Moss and Christian Brown who are getting the playing time that they need and getting the shots off because he can distribute the ball. And I think you're not giving David McCormick as much credit as he deserves. This past weekend when we played TCU or Kansas State, Doak got hurt, and we needed someone to fill in that place, and David McCormick did a great job filling in.
Yeah, but he's not always consistent with filling in.
No, but I think he can be the person to fill it in, and then in that sense, Dot just took over the game with 25 points. He completely dominated that. But David McCormick was very, at least serviceable in the sense where I don't think, you say Marcus Garrett can take the point. I don't necessarily know if he can do as much as Devon Dotson does. I don't think Marcus Garrett is as great at driving as Devon Dotson is, nor do I think he is as great of just a pure passer and playmaker as Devon is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying Devon isn't valuable because whichever one of these is more valuable, the other one is secondary to them. But I don't know. I think Doak does a really good job. I mean, at the beginning of the year, our lineup was 3 guards and 2 bigs, and that didn't work because both Garrett and Dotson score by getting in the lane, and 2 bigs really clogged things up. But then once they changed it to 4 guards and 1 big, I think that adds to Doak's value because he's now being double covered covered by teams, which adds an open shooter, which is inherently adding value to KU's offense. And he also effectively handles the rebounding and the defense on his own, and Coach Self was confident enough in him to put him out there on his own, and he handles it. The one thing that I will concede to you is that when it comes to leadership, Devon Dotson, I mean, he takes that completely. But if you're talking about play, I think Azubuike is just the most valuable player on the court because there aren't players that can do what he can do.
I would agree with that. I mean, yeah, when it comes to around the hoop, he's the best player in the nation,
right.
No question. But I think there's also, it says a lot that he can't shoot outside of that. And Dave McCormick has a beautiful mid-range shot.
He doesn't need to, though.
We can make it. Yeah, he does not need to, but at the same time, it's like if you know he's getting doubled and stuff, he can't be that effective besides opening up other shots, which can be an asset. But in the terms of what Devon will bring is, like you said, Marcus Garrett could take the point. Who's going to replace Marcus Garrett, who's supposed to win Defensive Player of the Year? Also, another thing, side note, Devon Dotson leads the team in steals. And if Marcus Garrett's
better defensively
supposed
overall.
to win Defensive Player of the Year, Devon, you say Doak's defense is great, and I think he has a lot of blocks and he can make plays down low. But Devon he not only does he run the court on offense, but he runs it on defense.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think, and when it comes to Devon Dotson scoring by driving to the hoop, which is obviously what he's best at, Doak sets him screens so that he has room to work. And so it's kind of this give and take where, I don't know, I mean, they need each other, but at the same time, I mean, they're very different players.
Very different players. And they do, in the end, like they really do need each other because you see a lot of pick and rolls happen because people are trying to either double team Devon on the pick to stop him from driving, and then that just leaves Doak wide open.
Right. So
as much as they are very different, they do complement each other very well, which is really important.
That's true, and it'll be really awesome. I mean, knock on wood, but I think we're going to have a really good run this March, and we need both of them to stay healthy, and that's the one thing that Doak has struggled with a little bit is his health.
I would love consistency from the both of them, injury-wise, just to stay healthy throughout this whole March run. But we are going to take a quick break, and we'll see you when you get back.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Make someone's day. Pay it forward.
For our second debate, our sided players will be debating on whether or not the Houston Astros 2017 World Series title should be vacated. As a result of the sign stealing scandal, the Astros received a $5 million fine and a loss of both their first and second round draft picks in 2020 and 2021. Additionally, the MLB suspended both GM Jeff Lunhow and manager A.J. Hinch for 1 year before both were fired by Astros owner Jim Crane. Last month, we had our players debate whether or not the Astros received sufficient punishment for their role in the 2017 scandal. Today, I'm here with Riley Ward and Mitch Haverfield here to debate their thoughts on the topic. 70% of sided users say that the World Series title should be vacated. But Mitch, what do you think?
The Houston Asterix, or should I say Astros, cheated. We know this now. It's been proven. It's a horrible look for the game of baseball. But what I want to focus on is what our league commissioner said. He referred to the league trophy as a piece of metal. That's not a good look, nor is it the representation I think the sport wants, and that was definitely a disrespect to the players. They're going to face retaliation no matter what. I think you can take away the title, you can leave it with them. That title is tainted forever. I think Manfred's approach initially was incorrect. I think he could have given out harsher punishments, maybe suspending players, something like that. But he's definitely looking into the future and these new proposals and things of that nature. What are your thoughts, Riley?
You know, Manfred did handle this situation horribly. I think he's trying to protect the identity of baseball just because it's a declining sport in popularity, and he doesn't want the prize team to look any worse than they currently do. But I think he did such a horrible job because I personally think that they should strip them of this title, take down the banners, take away the trophy, don't send them the rings, because vacating this title shows that you shouldn't be able to do this in the future. Because right now, teams are going to be looking at the punishment like, oh, we lose 2 draft picks in 2 years from now. We get fined $5 million, which is hardly any of our payroll, and we still have a World Series title. Like you said, it's still tainted, but it's still in the history books.
Right.
I mean, you can throw an asterisk next to Bonds for his home runs and things like that, but ultimately you're not going to get rid of that actual title. It should be taken away. They should not have anything for the 2017 World Series champion.
I think there definitely is a clear-cut cheater of 2017. There's no clear-cut winner. I don't think you can give the title to the Dodgers or the Yankees for that matter. Yeah, definitely 2017, there's no winner. But I will say that Manfred's approach, while it was horrible, like the trophy is not just a piece of metal, it is the league championship trophy. It's what every player, every manager, every guy in the organization goes for every season. So I think with his mindset looking into the future, there was an article last night released by Tom Verducci of Sports Illustrated, and it talks about the proposed rule changes implemented by opening day. So they're already looking forward into the season and trying to prevent these things from happening. And that's going to include access to the clubhouse and dugout is going to be limited to players, 7 coaches, and necessary interpreters and trainers. Front office is banned during games because we know that some of the people that were cheating were like front office employees that were participating in the banging of the trash cans or whatever. And then for extreme cases, they're going to look into even turning off televisions in all of the clubhouse, enabling one screen in the training room, and it's going to be on an 8-second delay. So I think these changes are promising, and hopefully it's implemented and can prevent these things from happening, because definitely more integrity of the game has been stripped away from this sad instance.
Yeah, definitely. And baseball is a sport that surrounds itself with integrity. And I know there was a comment posted on our site at discussing how there's no integrity, there's steroid era in baseball. And that kind of annoyed me because I look at that and I'm thinking to myself, there still is integrity in the game. You look at Bonds will never be in the Hall of Fame. Sosa will never be in the Hall of Fame. Same with McGuire. Even Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson, you go way back. The modern era of baseball started in 1902 or something along those lines. And so in a game where you prioritize integrity and then someone breaches it, to this extent, this is the largest cheating scandal we've experienced in our lifetime.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they breach it, and then you're not going to properly punish them by stripping it away. Doesn't make sense to me. And pitchers have come out saying, in comparison to the steroid era, I would rather throw to a guy who is on steroids than a guy who knows what pitch is coming. And I can agree with that. The whole point of off-speed is it takes people by surprise, and when you know that's coming, you can just sit and wait on it.
Yeah, Mike Trout, what did he say? He said like he would hit like 100 home runs or something if he knew what pitch was coming. Yeah. I think that's crazy. I mean, the ball is definitely in MLB's court and the Players Association. What will they do to make this right? But yeah.
Yeah, and so you were saying earlier, so you think they shouldn't give it to the Dodgers, they shouldn't give it to the Yankees, they should just
completely vacate the title.
Like you're saying, all right, well, the issue that I have with it is like, because you look at a team like the Dodgers, they have a say for it at the same time. They're the team who was playing in the World Series. They were getting cheated against, essentially. That's part of the reason they lost the World Series.
It is part of it, but also at the same time, it's like, would they want that title now in that instance?
Yeah, and I mean, maybe a delayed ring a few years later might not be as satisfying.
Yeah.
But I still think that they need to take a lot more action than they're taking. Because like I said earlier, why would I not cheat? If I'm a Twins fan, why don't I want the Twins to start stealing signs? Yeah. And then, I mean, also you look at the effects this had on the players. The players didn't really receive any punishment.
Absolutely, yeah. No season bans or anything like that. I was really surprised with that. I'm just really excited for the retaliation we're about to see. I mean, we're already seeing it in spring training. The guys are getting beamed. Like Altuve's getting trashed on, like on the on-deck circle. He should give his MVP to Aaron Judge. But mark your calendar, September 21st, 23rd, They're going to Yankee Stadium.
Oh, that's going to be. I'd be surprised if they even leave Yankee Stadium in one piece.
It's going to be interesting, to say the least.
And then you're looking, is that retaliation enough? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, a 100-mile-per-hour fastball to the neck would.
Stay away from Chapman.
Well, I'm sure we're going to continue to talk about this as things continue to unfold going forward. But we're going to take a quick commercial break.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the City of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new bike share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
For our third and final debate, our sided players will be debating their opinions on the NFL's newly proposed playoff format. With negotiations ongoing for the NFL's collective bargaining agreement, the league has proposed a new playoff format. The new format would increase the number of playoff teams from 12 to 14, giving the best overall seed in each conference a first-round bye and allowing for a triple header of games on Wild Card weekend. The NFL is also proposing a 17-game regular season schedule, adding a regular season game and taking one preseason game off the schedule. I'm here with Ryan Atchison and Jack McGar, here to debate their thoughts on the NFL's proposal. 60% of sided users are against the changes. But Ryan, what do you think? Do you think these changes would be good for the NFL?
No, I really don't think these changes are going to improve the NFL and their brand at all. The NFL is all about safety. They all want to protect their players. They're really forward with the new concussion protocols and making new helmets. And so I don't see players playing 17 games a year, and then you have to throw that into safety and throw that to contract revenue, right?
For sure.
For sure, and it jeopardizes health because 99% of NFL players don't survive without getting injured at one point in their career. Mm-hmm. And now with the playoff formation, you talk about the bye week issue, right? With the Chiefs example, getting the second seed this year. Mm-hmm. If that second seed was in the wild card weekend, they'd be playing, the seventh seed would be Pittsburgh at Arrowhead. And it'd be another game the Chiefs would have to play. And that can affect the whole outcome of how you get to the Super Bowl.
For sure, yeah, it changes a lot, especially if the Steelers had to play the Chiefs in the opening round, opening weekend of the playoffs. Like, the Steelers could have won, Chiefs could have lost, and then that changes who wins the Super Bowl. So it does change a lot, especially the teams that have that bye week are almost likely to go to the Super Bowl, a lot more likely to go to the Super Bowl. But I think these changes are good for the NFL, adding a game and adding the two NFL teams to the playoffs, because it generates more revenue, and that's all really they care about. And right now, I think with the split right now in the collective bargaining agreement that they have right now, it's a 47% split for the players in revenue and a 53% split for the league in revenue. And this adding a game would add 1.5% to the players, giving them roughly $5 billion, according to Adam Schefter. And that $5 billion would go to the salaries that they make, which, I mean, Michael Thomas recently said after the Tony Romo contract that they want more salary. They want to be paid more for playing. And I think this extra game would help them get paid more and increase their salaries by, a couple million here and there. So
even then with the salaries, you want to see, if you add 17 weeks, what's that really going to do? What's that really going to do? One game is not going to make a difference with how much revenue comes in. I think what I want to see is 2 bye weeks. 2 bye weeks, that way it gives players rest. It gives enough time for teams to reestablish their health and reestablish their weeks going on forward. And I think with the bye week issue too, I think that teams who get to that top tier with 14 wins, 15 wins a season, and now you're getting punished because you've had that success going on through that whole season.
Yeah.
I think that just says a toll of like how important that second bye week will be for the playoff teams.
That's very true, but I think also if you're winning that many games and you're the second seed and you're playing the 7th seed, that would be as of maybe next year if that goes through. I think the 7th seed shouldn't win against a 2 seed. That's how it's set up. So I think if you're losing against a 7 seed like that, maybe you shouldn't receive a bye week in the end of it. So I think that's kind of the argument there. And also with the extra game and the extra bye week, like you said, it does push the season back and it adds another couple weeks to the schedule. And I think adding a couple weeks to the schedule and elongating the season generates more revenue and I think more interest too from other fans. You have a longer season to watch, and I think you have more football to watch, and that's all fans really want at the end of the day. So
And what's crazy too is the stat now, the 49ers and Chiefs being the top 2 seeds respectively from their region, 7 of the last Super Bowls consecutively have come down to the top 2 teams in that conference and to make the Super Bowl. So that's how crucial this bye week really is.
That
and
is
I think
true.
this, with the new proposal, I don't think that it would really help those teams who get many wins this season to go forward very far in the playoffs because they have to play another week on top of what they already have accomplished.
I do agree that the extra week could diminish the competition in the other weeks, especially in the regular season. Teams might not play super hard through the first couple games here and there, but I think when it comes down to it, the players want more money, they want more salary, and I think if they get that, they are going to play harder and they're going to fight for the money that they deserve at the end of the day. So.
Right, exactly. And I think just with revenue, and yes, it's a big thing, and now we have the XFL coming too, and we have all these minor league affiliates of football. I think just people want to see football. They just they love the sport. It's one of the most popular sports in America now. That baseball is kind of starting to decline.
For sure, and that we can agree on. And on that note, we'll send it back to Jacob.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. As always, continue to go on sided.co and vote for the arguments you feel are the strongest. And we'll crown a winner next week. For all of us here at TakeaSide, thank you, and we'll see you again soon.